So it's time for another gardening week video, and it's a very short gardening week for me this week. I am only really on the allotment today, which is Monday, and I will probably only be back here to water once, probably Thursday night, and then it's harvesting on Saturday night, Sunday. So yeah, very short gardening week, but I got a lot done. I'm going to show you around. So the polytunnel was looking really neglected and it needed a lot of TLC. So I took all the surplus branches off the tomatoes, and there's not that many tomatoes left, to be honest. We've harvested a huge number, and there's just a few up here, little cherry ones up top, but it'll probably get us through until the end of September, just for salads. We've got more cooking tomatoes, so there's still quite a few on here on the San Mazzanos, and so they're going to keep us going again just for a few more weeks, and that'll be good because it'll mean a nice leisurely transition when I convert this polytunnel to all of the winter crops. And this year I'm doing something slightly different. I am actually going to take absolutely everything living out of the polytunnel so I can give it a good spray with Jay's fluid and then algal to kill any sort of algae or anything like that on the polythene, and I think it'll benefit a lot from that. But as a result of that, it means that I'm starting lots of stuff in containers for my kind of overwintered things, so rather than in the polytunnel. So I've got my overwintered celery here, overwintered chard, autumn peas, things like that. So things that I would normally have had growing, I've got in these, and I will have more. So I've got my late strawberries and things down there. So yeah, a lot of leaves in this polytunnel on the floor, and they are all nicely composted now. And I managed to turn my compost bin and turned in all of those extra leaves, and that added another, well, probably 1.5 foot, 18 inches of additional greens to this compost bin. So hopefully it'll be up at 60 in a day or so. The daily harvest of windfall apples and cucumbers, and this bed was the summer carrots. And I've got to say, it was the best harvest I've ever had of summer carrots. And I did this bed, it was a new bed, specially designed really for carrots. I probably did talk about it in previous videos, and I'll talk about it again in another video. But it's now got turnips in it, and I've given them a lot of space, as you can see here. You know, you could space turnips a lot closer together than that. They are in clumps of 3, but I've given them space because this bed is going to be lamb's lettuce in October, so I need to get a harvest from these before, you know, definitely before the middle of October. Down here I've got the September carrots, the October carrots, the November carrots, and so it goes. We've just cleared all these beetroot beds of their interplants. This bed was interplanted with onions. This one was salad onions and leeks, I think, and then that one was onions and salad onions. So they're all finished, but the beetroot are still going well. And you might remember that these are the beetroot that got really bad rust, and basically the leaves were completely destroyed, and we cut the leaves off at the tops of the plants, so there was no leaf at all, and you can see now they've all grown back lovely. And same in that bed there, you can see loads of new leaf, not a sign of rust on there. So I don't know how important it is, but I always, after I've taken all the rusty leaves off and cleared them all out, I give the beetroot a really good water, so any rust spores are kind of washed into the soil and not on the beetroot, and then they seem to just grow again absolutely fine. and I've not seemed to notice a problem with rust in subsequent years as a result of doing that. And other than that, we've just taken all the lower leaves off the purple sprouting broccoli, and they're looking quite good now. It's quite noticeable, isn't it, that these are the ones that are under the shade of the tree, and then these are the ones that aren't under the shade of the tree. But these are the early variety and those are the late variety. I figured that the tree will have lost all its leaves when they are doing most of their growing over winter and in spring, whereas these are the ones that will be harvesting over winter. So I wanted to give them the best chance. And these are the very sickly looking colettes that have got the club root. So what I've done is I've taken the tops out of them. So basically taking that whole top, and we've eaten those tops and taken all these tops, and hopefully that will stimulate the colettes to grow as quickly as possible on the stems. And then I'm going to clear this bed in October and replant it with field beans. And obviously I won't have brassicas back in this bed for a few years, and I'll give it a good lime in and everything as well. So this is my first experience of clubroot, lots to learn. And you can see this bed here where there's no clubroot, and the difference is, you know, pretty striking. That these colettes twice the size, and obviously looking a lot healthier. I've just given all the salads a good watering. They could do with a good weeding as well, but they weren't going to get it. And I thought I'd just show you the pak choy that we put in, when was it? 2 weeks ago, I think. And that is looking really nice now. So when we get back from our holiday, this will be ready for harvest this weekend. So yeah, really pleased with that. And it's noticeable really to see how much better this is than the pak choy in the polytunnel, where we've still got a bit of flea beetle around. But there doesn't seem to be any flea beetle out here. So here's that very ragged pak choy. It's probably now got some sort of caterpillars. I've just sprayed it with BT to try and address that. Back from our short break down at my daughter's, and I've been doing loads of walking. I really love it down there. It's all farmland, and I just love walking through the farmers' fields and seeing what they're up to, and trying to figure out, you know, what crops to grow in, and you know, the gardening style. You know, a lot of them are switching to a no-till system, basically from, you know, like innovations coming out of America and new tooling and things like that that allow them to plant into stubble rather than ploughed fields. And it's really interesting to see, but it does depend on the use of glyphosate, whereas obviously when they ploughed, then they didn't need to use glyphosate for weed control. Anyway, it was really interesting, really enjoyed it. And back now just doing the harvest, but today was the Kite Festival here. We have loads of different festivals here on the coast, Lytham St Anne's, you know, music festivals and food festivals, and today was the Kite Festival. And I normally, to be honest, I normally avoid the beach at times like this because it's just so busy. But the Kite Festival is kind of an exception because it's just so impressive. And every year, you know, they up their game. And this year in particular, I think the Pegasus was the standout kite for me. Really, really clever the way that it's done, and so many different strings, you know, to sort of manipulate the movement and everything. Really, really good, and highly recommended. And it was a great day actually for it. You know, it obviously threatened rain, and as always, almost always here, we never seem to get the threatened rain. But that was good for the Kite Festival. Just terrible for the garden. I've got so many plants, so stressed now. You know, disease in particular is a challenge, you know, lots and lots of mildews on the plants, you know, which just happens when the plants are just stressed. And some of the plants obviously have got pests and things as well. Yeah, we just so desperately need rain. I can't think how much rain we've had in the last 3 months. You know, it's certainly less than an inch in 3 months. And, you know, I've never known a summer like it. I mean, normally I have quite a wet autumn, but no rain at all really this autumn. sorry, August. No rain at all this August. So anyway, we're into September and there's rain in the forecast, but you know, who knows whether it'll actually arrive. Anyway, let's get on with the harvest. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the harvest. We're not doing any bulk harvests at the moment. We won't do bulk harvests until a bit later on in autumn. But yeah, the harvest volumes are definitely starting to pick up a bit now as we move into September. We'll just have a quick look. So we've got the brassica mixes along the back there. Just reading today about the cancer fighting benefits of brassicas, so it's pleased to see that we've got plenty of those. And we've got tatsoi and red pak choy in those boxes. Various courgettes and a few yellow peppers there. Lunchbox peppers, big red peppers, calabrese, more calabrese, apples. We still haven't, you know, we've just started really picking apples, but we normally pick them each day as we need them straight off the tree. But anyway, there's a few there just as a sample. Pears, again, we're just starting to pick pears. We've got loads on the trees, but again, these really just being picked to eat fresh right now. Beans, French and runners, leeks, little parsnips, and then these are the cooking tomatoes, and still more cherry tomatoes than these big paste tomatoes. But to be honest, these cherry tomatoes, you know, they pack a lot of punch in terms of nutrition and taste, although they do take a little bit more effort when you're cooking with them. Just started tidying up all the potatoes actually outside, and we've now got 37 tubs to last us 34 weeks. So we've got a tub a week and a little bit of contingency, and this is kind of the quantity we get from one tub, so that's more than enough for us for a week. So we'll have a few to give away. I did forget to pick the beetroot off the allotment, but there's a few in the garden, so I just picked a few there. The first feeble kind of harvest of radishes. Yeah, we've got a lot of radishes to come, but we don't eat them in summer, so this is the first pick of autumn. These little stubby carrots, quite nice, although, you know, to be honest, for salads I kind of prefer these carrots, just the smaller versions of the big cooking carrots. And then we've got all the cucumbers. I keep thinking the cucumbers are slowing down, and then I've left other stems to kind of grow on, and then those new stems just sort of kick into life. And so yeah, loads of cucumbers, and I've left loads on as well to harvest for next week. Anyway, these are the ones that just those, they're the ones that are going in my salads because I like the even smaller ones. What else have we got? Oh, so those are the best of the tomatoes, which are really lovely. Aviditas cherry tomatoes, and those are the best of all the ones we've grown, so they're the ones that are going in the salads. A few chili peppers, just starting to get a few of the autumn strawberries. Salad onions, I'm really pleased with the salad onions this year. I had a recommendation in the comments for Summerland, I think they're called, something like that, salad onions, and they've been really pretty good. They did get a little bit of onion rust on them, and so I haven't got any tops, but that's still great for salad onions. And then these are these little baby onions that I like to grow. So I just plant them at really high density, like salad onion sort of density. But they're a bulbing onion, and you get these really small bulbs, but just huge quantities of them. And they're just absolutely beautiful in the salads. I don't even skin them now. I just kind of bite into them, and when you bite them, it just kind of squirts out the centre, which is super sweet. The big parsnips, and they kind of carry on underneath those first sweet corn. So the test sweet corn we picked last week, they weren't quite ready, but these look like they're ready now. We've got hundreds of them, so I picked the first 5 just to see if they truly are ready, but they seem to be. And then we'll start picking those in earnest. Red cabbages, looking pretty good. We've got a lot of red cabbages. And then the salads. These are just salad bases, obviously got to add all the sprinkles into these. So yeah, loads and loads of salads. And then the cooking carrots, I think. And I think that is pretty much it. That is a pretty nice harvest. I'll do a separate harvest video where I'll talk a little bit more detail about this, just to go into the reference information section of our book for the September harvest. Yeah, pretty pleased with that. Just looking up. So I hope you liked this quick video. My name's Steve, this is the Seaside Kitchen Garden and Allotment channel, and I'll see you soon.